Tonight at 5, the future of police. Who will write the blueprint?
Breonna Taylor should be alive today. Michael Marshall should be alive today. Elijah McClain should be alive today.
Activists demand to be heard. Police say they are listening.
We are going to do better moving forward.
Tonight, you'll hear the 112-point plan to improve police, put together by a Denver task force.
You'll also hear the city's separate plan to make Denver safer, a plan which highlights 5 criminal hotspots as areas for improvement.
Fear of crime can have a negative impact on our ability to rebound.
And as we come on the air tonight, Black Lives Matter activists are out in downtown Denver nearly 1 year to the day after George Floyd was murdered by former Minnesota police officer Derek Chauvin.
Some recent history before we dive into the issue of policing in Denver. So 1 year ago, days after Floyd's death, police clashed with activists in downtown Denver.
In the wake of that incident, Denver promised to do better. The task force to reimagine policing and public safety formed last summer. They claimed they would take feedback from everyone, including police. But in January, city leaders pulled law enforcement personnel off the task force and pulled $50,000 of funding as well. The Denver Director of Public Safety, Murphy Robinson, said officers were frozen out of discussions.
In context, speak when spoken to. And that's just not the type of environment, number one, I want my staff a part of, but also just that we need as the policy catalyst for our community.
Well, the task force continued to do its work separate from law enforcement, setting up today's scene. Mayor Michael Hancock and the chief of Denver Police talking about their vision for law enforcement in the morning, while the now independent task force pushes its own vision outside city buildings this evening.
Denver 7's Liz Gilardi leads off our coverage tonight with a look at what the city is asking for.
We want them to be able to go through these recommendations.
A 53-page report from a community task force on policing.
We're going to physically show up and deliver it to you.
Hand-delivered to city leaders. Dr. Robert Davis is with the task force to reimagine policing and public safety. He dropped off this packet after Mayor Michael Hancock laid out a new strategy to address violent crime.
DPD will be working across multiple city departments and community stakeholders and providing available resources to support these communities.
The city's approach will address crime in specific areas that statistics show are more violent. The areas include South Federal Boulevard and West Alameda Avenue, Colfax and Broadway, East Colfax and North Yosemite Street, East 47th Avenue and North Peoria Street, and Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and North Holly Street.
I'm afraid we have seen what happens when police officers are given the mandate to go clean up a neighborhood. This is where your allegations of police misconduct, assault, abuses, and unfortunately murders take place.
So it is building upon the foundation, the evidence-based approaches to hotspot policing, but then adding and innovating these foot patrols with co-responders.
Davis says the city's new strategy flies in the face of the 112 recommendations his group recently presented to the city.
What we've been calling for is for communities that are high violent crime areas to not only receive police presence, but more so to receive the resources that they need.
Police officers will conduct high visibility patrols with officers walking and biking in these neighborhoods in hopes of increasing connections with the community and decreasing crime. The city plans to include ongoing community input, but Davis says the recommendations are right here.
The division will take recommendations from the community on a regular, ongoing basis, including those we received on Friday from the Denver Task Force to reimagine policing and public safety.
Differing ideas on the future of policing. It's a debate that's playing out across the country. Liz Gilardi, Denver 7.
Liz mentioned the 5 crime hotspots highlighted by the city of Denver. Here they are again: Federal and Alameda, Colfax and Broadway, Colfax and Yosemite, 47th and Peoria, Holly and MLK.
Denver police claimed today that more than a quarter of the homicides and aggravated assaults happen in one of those areas. They call it math. If a small percentage of the city causes a large percentage of crime, police claim resources should go to those areas.
But people living in those areas say there is much, much more to the story that you won't see in a headline on Facebook. Denver 7's Patrick Perez went to one neighborhood to find out more.
We're at the corner of Alameda and Federal. This is one of 5 crime hotspots the Denver Police Department is targeting. They want to prevent crime here by increasing patrol and working with neighbors. But some of the community members I spoke with say more policing is not the solution.
Volvió a subir.
Norma Brambila says crime in Denver's Westwood neighborhood near Federal and Alameda has gone up.
Sí ha vuelto demasiado el crimen y demasiado el graffiti.
She works as the safety coordinator for Westwood Unidos, a group trying to shape people into leaders. She blames the high crime rates on the pandemic.
Nuestros jóvenes están en casa, papá, mamá están trabajando. Las escuelas están cerradas.
Norma says her organization has done a lot of work over the years to help reduce the crime here. It's heartbreaking to see what it's become.
Te destruye, porque no nomás destruye a la persona o a la víctima, destruye un entorno familiar y de comunidad, porque todos vivimos aquí.
The Denver Police Department wants to disrupt crime patterns to hopefully prevent crimes from ever occurring.
This would include foot patrol, it would include bike patrol in these neighborhoods, getting officers out of cars. We can connect with people.
But Norma worries a bigger police presence won't solve the problem.
Ponemos curitas a las heridas, pero realmente no tratamos de curar esa herida.
She wants more government funding for programs and activities that keep teens busy and away from bad crowds. That's what Joanna Cintro with the nonprofit Revision, which helps families grow food gardens in Westwood, is trying to do. She recently got a government grant to provide jobs to teens.
We're actually going to give 10 summer jobs to youth in the neighborhood who are going to actually help us run our farmers market.
Like Norma, she believes the neighborhood needs more resources.
I don't think policing in neighborhoods that are underserved ever helps and ever really acknowledges or addresses the root causes of any of these actual problems.
Es un golpe a la familia, como digo, no es un golpe a la delincuencia.
Norma says seeing more officers on the streets will make people more nervous, but she'll wait to see if it'll actually reduce crime. Patrick Perez, Denver7.
And our team has gone through all 112 recommendations made by the task force to reimagine policing and public safety. Now, some of them will seem like common sense, like recommendation number 16, promote and create permanently affordable housing options supplementary to Denver Housing Authority housing units. Others have proven to be controversial in the past. Take number 58, for instance. Permit safe injection sites in the city and county of Denver. And we posted the entire list of the 112 task force recommendations on our website. And we've also put together information on the city's new Transformation and Policy Division, which it claims will be an important driver of change within the police department. You can find those stories and more in-depth coverage of the future of policing right now on thedenverchannel.com.
The state has almost $4 billion to spend thanks to the American Rescue Act passed earlier this year. Today, Governor Polis and state Democrats announced what they want to do with the money. The governor says about a third of the money will go straight into the bank to help shore up the state's budget. Another third will be used for housing, health, and workforce development programs. The rest will be spent on recovery and relief efforts, everything from creating jobs to helping the state's agricultural industry.
We've heard communities across our state loud and clear. The federal stimulus funds that flow from Colorado offer a once-in-a-generation opportunity to improve our quality of life, invigorate our economy, and help our state recover faster and stronger than ever before.
But state Republicans claim the governor is listening to everyone but them. The Republican minority leader, Chris Holbert, told the Colorado Sun that he found out about today's announcement in the news and never got an invite. He says Republicans are concerned that they don't have enough of a say in state decision making.
Jury selection began today in the trial of Devin Erickson, the young man accused of the shooting at STEM School, May 7, 2019. Now, lawyers hope to wrap up jury selection by midweek. Now, they didn't estimate just how long this trial should last. His co-conspirator, Alec McKinney, took a plea deal last year. He's been sentenced to life without the possibility of parole.
So some quieter weather on the way as the storms move to the east. I think you'll like your Tuesday forecast.
Plus, new data suggests we might have turned a corner against coronavirus.
And your office may be bringing people back in, but one company is investing big money to keep its people at home.
We realized we need to take the same investment and that we would have put into an office place and put that into our employees.